CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Well, in the midst of this ethnic voting brouhaha, the Liberal, make that the leader of BC's Conservatives, insists that his party is still in the game. And John Cummins has come out with his party's 5-year budget plan ahead of its election platform. He says the Liberal budget simply is not believable. Cummins says a Conservative government, if elected, would produce modest surpluses, not by raising taxes, but by spending more efficiently. The Conservatives say they would cut carbon taxes and would cut sector-specific tax breaks, which were introduced by the Liberals.
It's safe to say that free enterprisers who may have supported Liberals in the past, when they look at the numbers that we've presented, will be very comfortably moving over and supporting a BC Conservative government.
Cummins says if he's elected, the legislature would undergo a major facelift, and he says voters can expect more details on the plan once the Conservatives release their election platform. A major story breaking in world news tonight. The president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, is dead. He died of cancer today at the age of 58. Chavez was both loved and loathed, remembered tonight as one of the most defiant and defining political leaders of his generation, certainly in Latin America. The populist leader of the oil-rich country was Latin America's most vocal politician and was the region's chief antagonist to the United States. Chavez was treated for cancer in Cuba and returned to Venezuela about 2 weeks ago. He died in a military hospital in Caracas. Prime Minister Stephen Harper says he hopes the death of President Chavez brings a brighter future for the Venezuelan people. In Washington, President Obama says the United States reaffirms its interest in developing a constructive relationship with Venezuela. Hugo Chavez was 58. There was more testimony today from the former lover of the BC Ferries officer who's charged in the sinking of the Queen of the North in 2006. Karen Bricker testified that Carl Lilgert ordered her to switch off the autopilot so he could steer the ship, but she says she didn't know how. Bricker says it wasn't something that she would ordinarily do, and she was never trained on it. The Queen of the North had recently been upgraded and brought back into service with changes, including upgrades to its autopilot system. Bricker and Lilgert were the only 2 crew members on the bridge that night. This was her first sailing on that bridge in nearly a year. Lilgert is charged with criminal negligence causing death. Well, you may have just noticed as the numbers went by, the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit the highest level ever in its history. Today, Wall Street's blue chip index gained 126 points, closing at 14,253. That shatters its previous record, which was set in October 2007, which came just before the economic downturn the following year. The Dow and Toronto's TSX opened higher after a surge in markets around the world. Tree fallers were out in Courtenay today. They're starting clearing the way for the new Comox Valley Hospital. The $334 million hospital is going up near Lerwick and Ryan Roads. An 11-acre portion of the site is filled with trees, and the project's officer says most of them have to be removed for safety. He says the reduction of trees is temporary, though, because the site is going to be landscaped with many more once the hospital is built.
This is where we're putting in a very specialized buffer zone between the new hospital site and the North Island College, and we're looking at putting in a lovely berm, landscaping, shrubberies, bushes, and I think there's close to 800 trees alone that will be in that specific area.
The clearing of this stand of trees is scheduled to be complete by the end of the week. Once they are gone, local First Nations will remove the roots for use for traditional herbs. Site preparation work gets underway next month. Construction on the new hospital is expected to begin next year.